Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. This is Santosh Jena. Hey guys, welcome back. Hey guys, this is what the should I say? Hi guys, this is Santosh Jena and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're absolutely fine. So today we're gonna learn how do we create a overlay effect in CSS. So without further wasting any time, let's get started. So as here you can see, I have made a custom overlay effect using HTML and CSS, and honestly it's quite simple. So let's get started and let's jump right into the Visual Studio Code. So what we need to do is definitely you have to define the HTML first. Uh, Okay, before doing this, I would like to give you a brief idea of how it's working. So basically, we have created a div, which is a primary container for our effect to work. Then we have created a overlay, which is like a transparent black film, which is coming over our main container. So let's first define the structure inside the body tag. Uh, we'll go by div class. Let's name it container. Close the div tag, and inside this div tag what we're going to do is create another class which will be our what do you call it, overlay. Let's call it overlay. Okay, so the basic structure of our animation is complete. Now what we need to do is define the styles. Let's say here we're going to define the style. All right. Okay, for the class, let's define how it's going to be. Container. Let's give it a height of around 500 pixels. Okay. Width of around, let's say, 30% of the whole screen. And a background color, of course. Background color of, let's say, brown. Okay. Let's see how it looks. Okay, fine. Now let's give a border radius of let's say 20 or 15 pixels. I think it will be great. Okay, let's decrease the height a bit, maybe 300 pixels. Yep, also border radius is applied. That's good. Okay, let's cut out the default bodies margin to look a little bit good. Set the margin to 0 forcefully, and okay. So in order to keep the container in the middle of the page, what we can do is position the container absolute, and then give top as 50%, left as 50%. Let's see. Okay. Now we need to transform it as well. Transform, and what do we call it? Translate it to minus 50% to compensate the margin. Sorry. Yep, looking good as of now. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to now define the overlay class. So overlay class should be of width as well as height, both at 100%. and the background color, let's say it should be black, and the opacity, not the opacity, uh, display as of now none. Refreshing the page, as you can see there's no effect, but once we do it as a block, then it's going to overlay the whole of the div. But we don't want that as of now. So what we can do is we can write another thing. Let's give it a border radius of 15 px as well. It will just fit over the div perfectly. Yep. But what we want to do is we need to display the overlay only when we're hovering over the container. That's what we want, right? So what we can do is container, we can assign a hover function, and then we can go inside the overlay. That means we're basically telling that whenever we're hovering over the container, then the overlay should be affected by a display, which is block, and here it should be none. I'll just, let's say display here is also none. We'll save it and we'll look out for it. Now see, whenever we are hovering over the main div, nothing is happening, because what here we have done is whenever you are hovering, the display is still none. But whenever, when we change it to block, now you can see whenever we are hovering over the main container, it's becoming black. Now what we can do is, okay, so just keep this in mind that we can't just put this in the transition block. That means if we want to have a smooth transition, let's say transition of display, and we give it 0.5 seconds, that means it's expected that it should be at least taking 0.5 seconds to let's rephrase the page, 0.5 seconds to like smooth out the animation. But as you can see, it's not as we expected. So what we can do is, instead of using the display attribute, what we can do is use an opacity attribute. Opacity attribute, what we can do is, by default the opacity should be 0. That means it's not visible. And whenever we hover over it, let's say opacity is now 0.7. And yep, here we should also change our opacity attribute. That means our opacity is changing at 0.5 seconds whenever you hover over the container. Let's say smooth and nice, right? Now what we can do is change this background to image. Let's say URL, and inside it, where's the folder? It's Canon and JPEG format, right? Canon.jpeg. Makes your index, that means your main page and the image is in the same page, or else you might have to use like backslash or front slashes to get into the correct directory. Now let's see. Okay, whenever we hover into it, smooth, right? Okay, so in order to add a text which is going to be displayed whenever we hover, what we can do is again add a div which is going to class, which is going to hold our text. Let's name it text. So previous recording was stopped because the Bandicam's free version won't allow beyond 10 seconds. Okay, that's all right. हम तो गरीब ही है काफ़ी. Div class is text, and let's put some text inside it, like hello world. That's what we've been calling from last 4 years, 6 years maybe. Okay, hello world, and maturity is this. Let's save it. Now we want to display this whenever we hover inside, or whenever we hover uh, on top of the container, right? So just like we did for the overlay, let's define the text class inside the style tag, of course. And let's say the font size, not the font size, the color is what matters. uh, Color, let's say white. Of course it's going to look a lot better on a dark background, right? That's why color is white. And what we can do is we can try to keep this text, this hello world text, in the center of the overlay. So in order to do that, of course you are going to do, we're just going to copy these things, this for things, which is going to keep our text at the center. Just copy and paste it, and let's see. Nice. Yes. So we're almost done, guys. Actually we're done, and keep experimenting and keep learning. So this is how you basically create a custom overlay effect for your hovering element, whatever you call it in CSS. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoy it, and feel free to post your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.